Hello everyone, I am Renown Zero. We are back talking about how Nintendo just continues to absolutely drop the ball when it comes to anything coming out from this whole Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. And yet we have another blunder from Nintendo themselves right here with this article from Video Games Chronicles. And for people who are new to the channel, people who have seen me before, I've constantly said that the GameCube was an awesome console. It had great titles like Super Smash Bros. Melee, Luigi's Mansion, F-Zero GX, Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, and things of that like. So it's crazy to me how they would absolutely announce this awesome announcement for Nintendo Switch Online Plus Expansion Pack members, come out with three great choices. Soul Calibur 2, that has Link as a guest character. Super OP if you know how to use them, by the way. You have F-Zero GX, and then you have Wind Waker. Instead of making Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess Collection, as it's been rumored many times, they decided to put it behind a paywall with the expansion pack that costs you $50 a year, essentially monetizing your nostalgia once again. But then, of course, they go ahead and they show a bunch of other games that are coming out for the Nintendo Switch Online service. Starting with like Super Mario Sunshine, you got Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, you got Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, Super Mario Strikers, you got Chibi Robo, you got Luigi's Mansion, and you got Pokemon Coliseum. Now with the way that Nintendo puts out these titles, it seems like they've put out new titles every couple of months. So this just might take a while. They'll have your money, you'll be excited for GameCube classics, and then they'll barely drop anything when you can absolutely just sail the high seas and emulate all these games on your PC or even your phone or even your Steam Deck. So the thing about this is, why would you go ahead and release a controller for the Nintendo GameCube for people to purchase, and then you can only use them with those GameCube games, knowing how long it's going to take more GameCube games to be added to the Nintendo Switch Online service, like they have with the SNES, the NES, the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy, the Genesis, and all the other consoles that they have in the back catalog for the Nintendo Switch Online service. But it's interesting how this all came about. So, from Video Games Chronicle, Nintendo Switch 2 GameCube controller is only compatible with GameCube games, Nintendo says. All the previous retro controllers worked on other Switch games. Now, me personally, I would only use this for the GameCube games, but there are other options that you can buy, like the Retro Fighter Brawler GC and the Battler GC, to play GameCube games. You don't have to wait for the official Nintendo Switch Online controller, and the fact of the matter is, this controller is only exclusive to people who pay for their online service. You can't even buy this controller without being subscribed to their online service, so that's even a paywall before you even pay for the actual controller. Whether you're paying monthly for $3 a month, $20 a year, or paying the $50 a year, which I'm sure with more systems being added to the service, this service will eventually increase in price, similar to how PlayStation Plus had added literally no new value whatsoever, went up in price, and Game Pass went up in price as well, but at least they give you those day one exclusive games, or day one games from Xbox Game Studios and other studios that they own, like Activision and Blizzard and all of those companies. So, let's keep on going. Nintendo Switch 2's GameCube controller will only be compatible with GameCube games, Nintendo says. Small print at the end of a recent video seen below showcasing the Nintendo GameCube functionality on Switch 2 states that the controller is only compatible with Nintendo GameCube Nintendo Classics. We've updated this article to note that Nintendo has made similar disclaimers with its previous retro controllers, which ended up working with other Switch games. So while this is no confirmation that the same will be the case with the GameCube controllers, so we're going to say take this with a grain of salt, it does at least provide some hope that it won't be as locked up as Nintendo says. While previous Nintendo Switch controllers were obviously designed mainly for use in their corresponding Switch Online retro libraries, they could also be used for other Switch games, with the console recognizing them as a Pro controller. So naturally, not every retro controller was suitable for every game due to having fewer buttons. The NES controller, for example, could only be used for games whose controls were limited to a D-pad and the A and B buttons. The Mega Drive, SNES, and Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64 controllers could be used for a wider range of games depending on the buttons needed. It should be noted that Nintendo has given similar disclaimers to previous retro controllers, stating that they didn't work outside their respective Switch Online libraries, but that players have subsequently been able to make them work with certain other games. So right now, I guess take this with a grain of salt that the controller will not work with anything but GameCube games as of right now. But like I said, if that is to be the case, you only have 3 games to use the controller with, and you have to wait possibly months to get new games, which, again, you could always just get other controllers like the Retro Fighter Brawler and Battler GC to use for everything on the Switch. In theory, were it to be compatible, the GameCube controller would be playable in any game that didn't require the player to click on the left or right sticks, because every other button is accounted for on the controller. It remains to be seen, however, whether Nintendo's disclaimer is fully accurate this time, or whether the controller does indeed work with other Switch and or Switch 2 games. Let's just go ahead and see this. Look, I think, where was that disclaimer? Let's see. Available on the same day as Switch 2. Where is this disclaimer? Doesn't seem to show here, from what I can tell. So, yes, he even says available for Nintendo Switch Online members. So you have to be a member of their online service in order to even purchase these controllers, which is absolutely stupid in my opinion. I don't think it should be that way. I think anybody should be able to buy a controller whether or not they subscribe to their online service. But I guess they're trying to add more value to it. GameCube titles are available on launch day for Switch 2, offering clearer image quality, higher resolutions, customizable controls, and online multiplayer support. At launch, the Nintendo GameCube Nintendo Classics library for Nintendo Switch 2 will include 3 games, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, and F-Zero GX, with other titles coming a bit later, according to the Nintendo Treehouse's live stream. Nintendo has announced that Nintendo Switch 2 GameCube controller will only be offered to those who pre-order the console via the My Nintendo store. What? You have to pre-order the Switch 2? Oh, I don't know how true that is. The Nintendo GameCube Nintendo Classics will be exclusively available for online members and will initially only be offered to those invited to pre-order a Nintendo Switch 2 console, reads a message on the My Nintendo UK store. Wow. Putting it even behind more paywalls. Wow. Even more paywalls. Wow. It would only initially be offered to those invited to pre-order a Nintendo Switch 2. So you can't even buy this console. You can't even buy this controller without even pre-ordering the Switch 2. So you gotta pay. You gotta give them, and this is only UK, but more than likely it will reflect in the US. So apparently you have to purchase the console. You have to pre-order the console, the Switch 2, and then you can actually pre-order this controller. It's just like Nintendo just constantly just wants to get all of your money, serving themselves L after L after L, and it's like it continues to just make everyone's hype for this thing completely die off as more and more information comes out about things like this. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you for checking out the video. I do appreciate all the new subscribers, returning subscribers, new viewers, and returning viewers. If you do like the video, smash the like button. Comment below how you feel about all this. Are you looking forward to getting the GameCube controller if the only way to get it is to also pre-order the Switch 2? Subscribe for more content. Hit the bell for notifications. Set the bell to all. That way you'll get a notification into my post in the video or go live on the channel. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.